Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of the Rugby Review, and this week we're going to be going over the two games on the Greatest Rivalry Tour that took place this past week. The first game we're going to be going through was the first game in the Test Series side of this tour, and then the second game we're going to be going through was the fourth and final game of the franchise matches that took place. So with all that being said, let's take a look at the first match in the Test Series side of this tour. So this game took place August 22nd, and New Zealand actually ended up winning this game by a score of 33-16. And I say ended up winning because through the first half, it looked like a very stereotypical, dominant, physical South African forward pack kind of pushing around the other team and just physically exerting themselves over the other team, and it kind of felt like New Zealand was just trying to hold on the best they could. But credit to New Zealand, they held on, and their substitutes in the second half made a huge impact. Whenever especially the forward substitutes came on, they stabilized the scrum big time, and once that scrum got stabilized for New Zealand, that was a very big turning around point in the second half that ultimately led New Zealand to be able to score more tries, build this lead, and obviously secure the victory. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of the stats for this particular game. So when I pulled all of these stats here, there were two specific stats that stuck out to me the most out of everything on the screen right now. And the two that stuck out was turnovers won and turnovers lost. Those were the two that stuck out to me the most. So turnovers won, All Blacks had 14 during the course of this game to just 5 for the Springboks. So even though South Africa had quite the territory advantage, New Zealand's defense was able to kind of handle it pretty well and get 14 turnovers at ruck time, and then kick the ball away, run the ball out a little bit, ease some territory pressure on themselves. In addition to that, there was 23 turnovers lost for South Africa to just 14 for New Zealand. Just too many handling errors for South Africa during the course of this game. 23 handling errors or turnovers lost is a huge number, and it doesn't really matter who you are. 23 handling errors kills your offensive flow and your continuity, and just you're stopping yourself from really finishing the offensive sequence that you're creating. So, that was the two biggest things that stuck out on this particular stat sheet here was New Zealand able to get turnovers and South Africa turning themselves over during the course of this game. So that's it for the first game in the Test Series here. Again, New Zealand secured the victory by a score of 33-16 over South Africa in this particular game. And then a few days later, after this game, New Zealand took on the Lions for the fourth and final franchise match in this tour series. An even bigger scoring surprise here. So this was a very high scoring game, and the Lions almost created history on this particular game. They looked really good for a long time, and then again, New Zealand substitutes in the second half, as well as just, I guess, maybe a little bit better fitness. It was 50-ish minutes. At the 50-ish minute mark, New Zealand was able to really start to open up this Lions defense, get their tries, come back, get a lead, hold the lead, and get the victory. So, obviously, New Zealand ended up winning this game by a score of 41-35. But, again, for a good chunk of that game, I was partially sold that the Lions may actually end up winning this game and almost created history, but not to be, I suppose. Let's take a look at the stats for this game as well, and we can take a look. There were a few things that stuck out to me here as well. Main three things: possession, meters gained, and clean breaks. 62% possession for New Zealand in this game to 38 for the Lions. 903 meters gained for New Zealand in this particular game to 332 for the Lions. In addition, lastly, clean breaks. There was 15 clean breaks for New Zealand to just 4 for the Lions. Usually, when you see kind of that mixture of stats right there, where one team's dominating possession, running all over the field, and getting a lot of clean break opportunities, it's usually quite a lopsided scoring affair, but this is the Lions we're talking about here. This is a team during the course of the URC season where they would be very disadvantaged in the possession and territory stats. They'd be making over 200 tackles, but they would score 35 points and keep the other team to 14. So, the Lions, at least from this last URC season, didn't need a lot of possession, didn't need a lot of territory. They're very good about taking their opportunities when they had them. Obviously, they had opportunities this game. They took them. It just so happens that New Zealand was able to create more opportunities for themselves and make their comeback, build a little bit of a lead, and just secure the victory. So, bit of a nail-biter, fun high-scoring affair if you're a neutral fan. But this was the fourth and final game for the franchise matches in this tour. New Zealand had a clean sweep of the franchise matches. They won all 4 of them. Suppose as to be expected for an international team competing against professional club teams. So, the only games that are left in this tour is the Test Series games. So let's take a quick look at the remaining schedule. So here we have the remaining schedule for the rest of this tour. We have the second game in this tour series being played tomorrow, August 29th. The following Saturday, September 5th, will be the third game of the tour series, and this will be the final game in South Africa. The tour will actually finish up over here in the United States, with the fourth and final game being played September 12th. And I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that there's also on September 5th a game between the women's Springbok and the women's New Zealand national teams. So we're going to have the Black Ferns against the Lady Springboks that day. So lots of rugby left on this tour. Lots of good rugby to be had. I would imagine Rassie is going to address the issues that were seen in the film sessions, and I would be very surprised if the Springboks have nearly as many handling errors this week, or this up-and-coming game, as the first game in the series. So that's it for this week. If you made it this far in the video, thanks. I appreciate it. If you could do all the things for the algorithm, that would be great. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you really want to, ring that bell so you're notified when the video drops. If you know anybody that may like this video, please share it with them. Again, that's it for this week, and I will see you all next week after this weekend's game. Hope you all enjoy.